All right, welcome back, everyone. So we're going to continue our bedtime reading of the Bible for children. And this is something I always do with my kids, or I did. It was a really fun time at night to kind of sit back, let them just kind of relax and read them the Bible or stories of the Bible. So that we are on Creation is Spoiled. Now the snake was the most cunning of all the animals that God had made. He saw the woman sitting by herself and came sliding through the grass towards her. Has God really said you must not eat from any of the trees in the garden? The snake said. The woman looked at him with her eyes wide and curious that the creature had the power of speech. But each day in the garden was full of new discoveries. Well, said the snake, curling around the roots of the tree and gazing at her steadily. We may eat of any tree in the garden, said the woman, but God did say that we must not eat of the tree, the fruit of that tree. She pointed at the tree with a deep, dark radiance. Ugh. Far in the depths of the garden. That tree, said the snake, pretending to be astonished. Oh, yes, said the woman. God said if you eat the fruit of that tree, if you even touch it, you will die. No, no, said the snake, you will not die. God knows that when you eat fruit from that tree, you become like him. And of course, he was not talking about a physical death, more of a spiritual death. The snake uncurled himself from the tree, sped through the grass, and climbed swiftly up the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. The woman followed. The fruit hung down, rich and luscious, enticing her. She stretched out her hand. She hesitated, looked around to see if anyone was watching her. Go on, said the snake. Try a little. And the woman seized the fruit suddenly, bit deeply. The snake disappeared because he got what he wanted. He disappeared into the undergrowth as her husband approached. The man was puzzled to see the woman by the tree, the forbidden tree of knowledge of good and evil. This is something that God has told them, and God has made it clear to Adam to tell Eve about it. The man was puzzled to see the woman by the tree, the forbidden tree, the knowledge of the knowledge of good and evil. But she handed him the fruit, and he saw how delicious it looked. He put his tongue to it and tasted. Immediately, they both knew they were naked. Suddenly, everything in Eden seemed to be different, as if a dark shadow had fallen and they were tied together. They tied together fig leaves to make themselves clothes so they weren't naked. Then they heard the voice of God. As he was walking in the cool of the evening, they ran and hid themselves among the trees. This is an interesting part too, where we see Jesus in the Old Testament. So, of course, the Godhead is invisible always. If you see him, you will surely die, it says. So here goes God in Eden walking and talking and speaking with them and kind of having fellowship, walking through the garden with them. So we see that the Godhead is invisible, but Jesus isn't. So here goes Jesus walking with them in the garden. So then they heard the voice of God as he was walking in the cool of the evening. They ran and hid themselves among the trees. Where are you? God said. So of course he's looking for them as well, right? The Godhead's all-knowing, all-seeing. So the man peered out from the darkness, ashamed. I heard you in the garden, he said, but I was afraid because I was naked. So I hid myself. Who told you that you were naked? Said God. Have you eaten of the fruit of the tree? The woman stammered the man. The woman! She gave some of the fruit to me, so I ate it, God. Oh, why did you do that? God asked the woman who walked out of the bushes slowly, not daring to lift her eyes from the ground. The snake said, she said, it was his fault. He tempted me, so I ate it. Then God turned to the snake, who was lurking in the depths of the garden, and said, because you have done this, you will be cursed among the animals, and you'll be cursed to slither on your belly. So of course at one time the snake had legs, and now his curse is to eat the dust of the ground, to slither on his belly forever. He turned the man and the woman and told them that their disobedience pain had come into the world. From now on, their lives would be marked by hardship and suffering. The man and the woman stood there trembling in bitter sorrow, and God took pity on them and made them clothes out of animal skins to keep them warm. Some believe it might have been lambskin, because Jesus is the Lamb of the world. Yet they were banished from the garden forever, and angels guarded the entrance with a sword of fire. So, well, that comes to the end of our chapter. I want to tell you that I love you and have sweet dreams. We'll see you tomorrow. Good night.